Imagine a world where technology is no longer just about convenience, but about creating experiences that change the way we think, work, and live. For years, every new smartphone has promised to be the future, but often it felt like just another upgrade, just another minor step forward. People bought new devices, admired them for a few days, and then life went back to the same old routine. But with the arrival of the iPhone 17, something different happened. It was no longer just another phone on the market. It became a story that people wanted to tell, a symbol of how far human imagination could really go. And that story begins not in a lab or on a stage at a launch event, but in the everyday lives of people like you and me, searching for something bigger, something inspiring, something that connects technology with dreams. When the iPhone 17 features were first announced, most people thought it would be another set of technical jargon, a better chip, a brighter screen, maybe an improved camera. But the truth is, the 5 main features of the iPhone 17 changed the way users experienced reality itself. These were not just bullet points on a marketing page, they became tools of transformation. The holographic display wasn't about showing off graphics. It was about seeing memories come alive in 3D. The AI-powered camera wasn't just about pixels. It was about capturing emotions with breathtaking clarity. The quantum speed processor wasn't just about running apps faster. It was about giving people freedom from waiting and letting their creativity flow instantly. The next generation battery life wasn't simply about lasting longer. It was about breaking the fear of being disconnected at crucial moments. And the seamless AR integration wasn't about games. It was about education, work, and human connection on a scale we had only imagined. Think about it, the iPhone 17 holographic display meant you could video call your family and actually feel like they were sitting across the table from you. Imagine a grandmother seeing her grandchild's first steps projected in her living room, not as a flat video, but as a moving, living 3D moment. This wasn't technology anymore, it was memory, emotion, and connection brought to life. People no longer talked about watching a video or looking at photos, they talked about reliving experiences. And that's where the story really starts, with human hearts touched in ways no phone had ever managed before. The AI camera of iPhone 17 became another hero in this journey. For decades, photography was about angles, light, and skill. But now every person could become a storyteller. The AI didn't just enhance colors or sharpen images, it understood the scene. A student capturing notes on a whiteboard got crystal clear results even from the back of the class. A traveler photographing a sunset didn't just get a picture of light, they got the mood, the warmth, the emotion of that golden moment. And parents, they no longer worried about blurry shots of their kids running around. Every picture carried a piece of real life, not just an image. This wasn't just a camera upgrade, it was a revolution in memory keeping, and people began to document their lives in ways they never had before. Now imagine the heartbeat of this device, the quantum speed processor of iPhone 17. For years, people complained about lag, about apps crashing, about delays that broke their creative flow. But the new processor didn't just make things faster, it eliminated waiting altogether. Designers could render massive projects in seconds. Gamers experienced seamless worlds with no interruptions. Professionals who depended on speed, from doctors analyzing scans to filmmakers editing content, discovered freedom like never before. In the story of iPhone 17, this feature wasn't about numbers or performance graphs. It was about giving people back the most valuable thing in life, time. And time, once returned, became a gift that users used to chase dreams rather than loading bars. But speed means nothing if the device dies halfway through the day. That's why the iPhone 17 battery life became a turning point. The world had grown tired of carrying chargers, power banks, and adapters. Everyone feared the red battery icon. But with next-gen battery technology, people experienced something new, peace of mind. Imagine a doctor on a long emergency shift, a traveler on a cross-country train ride, or a student preparing for exams all night long. For them, battery life wasn't just about convenience, it was about trust. The iPhone 17 created a bond with its users, whispering silently, "I will not fail you when you need me the most." And that bond, once formed, became part of the bigger story, a story of reliability and freedom from constant charging anxiety. Then came the most fascinating part, AR integration in iPhone 17. Augmented reality wasn't new, but it was finally seamless, natural, and deeply practical. Children could learn history by walking through virtual Roman streets. Doctors could train on lifelike 3D models before performing surgeries. Architects could show clients their future homes standing in the middle of empty land. And everyday users, they could shop online by placing virtual furniture in their rooms, try clothes without stepping into a store, or navigate cities with real-time 3D guides. Suddenly, the line between imagination and reality blurred. People weren't just using a phone, they were walking into new worlds, guided by the device in their hands. This was the beginning of a new type of storytelling. The iPhone 17 review stories weren't filled with dry numbers or benchmarks. Instead, they were filled with emotions. A teacher talking about how AR changed her classroom, a young creator talking about how the AI camera helped him go viral, a traveler explaining how the long battery life kept him connected across continents. The SEO keywords that people searched for: iPhone 17 features, iPhone 17 battery life, iPhone 17 holographic display, iPhone 17 AR technology, weren't just technical terms anymore. They became parts of people's lives, woven into real experiences, told in voices filled with awe and gratitude. And that's where the hook of our story lies. The iPhone 17 wasn't the hero itself. The real heroes were the people who used it, the grandmother who relived memories, the student who learned without boundaries, the professional who gained back lost hours, the parent who captured moments of love, the traveler who stayed connected across oceans. The 5 main iPhone 17 features became 5 doors, opening into 5 new worlds of possibility. And with every door, a new story was born. The story of the iPhone 17 doesn't stop at first impressions. In fact, its true power unfolds in the lives of the people who carry it every day. Imagine waking up to a new sunrise, but instead of simply checking notifications, your phone becomes the gateway to your morning world. The holographic display of iPhone 17 projects your schedule into the air, glowing softly in your room like a personal assistant made of light. You don't just read about your meetings, you walk through a 3D timeline. You don't just see the weather forecast, you watch the clouds shift and sunlight break through in a floating visual right before your eyes. For professionals, this wasn't just cool, it was practical. It meant stepping into the day with clarity, focus, and inspiration. A young college student named Aria discovered this when she first got her hands on the device. She had always struggled with motivation and often felt lost in a sea of deadlines. But with her new iPhone 17 holographic planner, she could see her tasks floating around her room in colorful 3D reminders. It wasn't a flat checklist anymore. It was a story unfolding, showing her where she stood and how close she was to her goals. For Aria, the iPhone 17 feature wasn't about the display itself. It was about hope, discipline, and the courage to keep going. Her story became part of a growing chorus of voices sharing how this technology was shaping personal growth. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, a young father named Daniel discovered the magic of the AI-powered iPhone 17 camera. His little daughter had just taken her first ballet class, and like any proud parent, he wanted to capture the moment. In the past, low lighting and constant movement would have ruined the pictures. But this time, the AI camera adapted instantly, balancing shadows, focusing on details, and highlighting the grace in her small, uncertain steps. When Daniel looked at the photos later, he didn't just see images, he felt emotions. The AI had captured the nervous excitement in her eyes, the delicate twist of her hands, and even the quiet joy in her smile. For him, this wasn't about megapixels or sensors. It was about preserving a moment of love so vividly that he could relive it again and again. But perhaps one of the most powerful stories came from the medical field. A doctor named Layla worked in a busy hospital where time was everything. Using the quantum speed processor of iPhone 17, she could instantly access patient records, analyze medical scans, and consult with specialists across the world in real time. What used to take hours now took minutes, and in emergencies, those minutes meant lives saved. The iPhone 17 processor wasn't just a spec sheet detail, it was a silent partner in healing, a companion in crisis, a bridge between knowledge and action. Patients didn't know about the technology behind the scenes, but they felt the impact in every timely diagnosis, every rapid response, every hopeful outcome. Of course, none of this would have mattered if the phone died in the middle of the day. That's where the iPhone 17 battery life became legendary. A travel blogger named Zane shared his experience online, telling the world how he had gone 3 full days on a single charge while trekking across the mountains. His iPhone 17 battery didn't just keep him connected, it gave him safety. When storms hit and he needed GPS navigation to find his way, the phone never failed. When he wanted to capture breathtaking sunsets at high altitudes, the camera was ready. When he needed to connect with family to tell them he was safe, the signal held strong. The story of Zane wasn't about technology at all. It was about trust, freedom, and the courage to explore without fear of losing connection. Then there was Maya, a teacher who found herself at the heart of a new educational revolution. With the iPhone 17 AR integration, she turned her classroom into a living, breathing museum of knowledge. Her students no longer read about ancient civilizations from dry textbooks. Instead, they walked through virtual temples, touched 3D models of artifacts, and even interacted with historical figures recreated in augmented reality. The children were no longer bored. They were curious, engaged, and alive with questions. Parents began to notice how their kids came home excited, talking about history like it was an adventure they had actually lived. For Maya, the iPhone 17 AR feature wasn't about entertainment. It was about planting seeds of imagination and learning that would grow for a lifetime. Each of these stories, different yet connected, painted a bigger picture. The iPhone 17 review wasn't about specs, numbers, or marketing slogans. It was about people finding new ways to dream, to love, to learn, to heal, and to live. The 5 main features, the holographic display, AI camera, quantum processor, long-lasting battery, and AR integration, weren't isolated tools. They were threads woven into the fabric of human life. They became part of weddings, classrooms, hospital wards, adventures, and family dinners. And slowly, the world began to realize that this wasn't just a product launch. It was a cultural shift, a moment when technology stopped being just functional and started becoming deeply personal. And then came the conclusion, the quiet but powerful truth that echoed across the globe. The iPhone 17 features were never about replacing human connection. They were about amplifying it. The holographic display brought families closer. The AI camera preserved memories more vividly. The processor gave professionals more time to serve, to create, to dream. The battery gave travelers freedom and safety. The AR integration gave children and adults alike a doorway into new worlds of knowledge. When people searched online for iPhone 17 review, iPhone 17 features, iPhone 17 battery life, iPhone 17 AR technology, they weren't just looking for facts. They were searching for stories, for reassurance that this device wasn't another gadget but something that would matter in their lives. And the answer came not from advertisements, but from the voices of users everywhere, telling their own stories of hope, creativity, and connection. The story of the iPhone 17 ends with a conclusion that feels more like a beginning. Technology is no longer about what it can do, but about what we can become when we use it wisely. The iPhone 17 proved that a device can be more than glass and metal. It can be a partner in dreams, a witness to love, a guide in learning, a companion in journeys, and a lifeline in crisis.